Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Chanina if you're new here. Hey, so y'all, today is a cook with me video. I just got off of work. It's after 5 o'clock and there wasn't much to vlog, so we're just gonna cook today. I am making a spin on Chef Boyardee's beefaroni. So kind of like a pasta bake. It's really simple to make. You make it the same way you make spaghetti, but instead of spaghetti noodles, you use elbow noodles and you pop it in the oven. So for the ingredients today, I am using about a pound and a half of ground turkey meat. I'm gonna throw some pepperoni slices in there, but I'm gonna cut those up. I'm gonna use a green pepper, a whole white onion, some minced garlic, a can of mushrooms, some tomato sauce, and then this is also tomato sauce that is just frozen that I had left over. We're gonna top it off with some cheese. The noodle of choice is elbow. And the seasonings that I'm going to be using in it is ground paprika, onion powder, Italian seasoning, black pepper, some chicken bouillon for flavoring, zesty blend garlic herb. So this is the salt free. And then I am going to be using pink Himalayan salt, and we're going to put it all into this foil pan. We're going to butter our foil pan and we're going to stick it in the oven for a little while, and then it's going to be time for dinner. So let's get started. Okay y'all, so the first thing that I've done was went ahead and put my water on the stove so that it can boil for my noodles. And now I'm just taking out some pepperoni. I'm just eyeballing this. You can put as much or as little pepperoni that you want to put into this. You actually don't have to put any in there if you don't want to. But I am choosing to, just to do something a little bit different from the way I normally do this, which is without the pepperoni. But since we have some, I'm going to be using some. So I'm just going to sit that behind me for a second. And now, while I'm chopping up my vegetables, I'm going to let my meat go ahead and cook. So I've already got my pan over here. And I'm just going to put that on low, and as soon as it gets hot a little bit, I'm going to cover the bottom with olive oil. Okay, while that's happening, I'll go ahead and drain my mushrooms and rinse those off. When I use canned items, whether it's vegetables, everything except for like pork and beans, I generally open it up and then I rinse it off. So like vegetables, beans, like kidney beans, stuff like that, black beans, I rinse those off prior to cooking with them. Okay. So I'm just going to put that in the pan to help cook the ground turkey. Let me get a Kroger bag for my trash. Push those back. Now I've already washed my hands, you guys, so I did that off camera. Just grab a knife here. So I'm just grabbing a spoon so that I can break up the ground turkey a little bit. Oh, there's one little piece that's still frozen, but it's okay. Wash off our green pepper. Always wash off your vegetables. When you're getting them from the grocery store, because you don't know who's been touching them, who's been breathing on them. You know, you just never know. It may have hit the floor. Somebody put it back up there. You just never know. So you want to always rinse off your veggies. And one thing that I have found to help me out when chopping onions, because you know onions make your eyes water, but one thing that has helped me out with that I'm finding that it works, is I rinse my onion off prior to cutting it. Now it could just be all in my head, but to me, it seems to work out. Let me grab a bowl that I can put my veggies in. So I'm actually going to just dump this in here. Our green peppers. Now we're making a pasta beefaroni, so you don't want your vegetables to be chunky. Like if you were making like a chili or something, or a stew or something like that, you don't want the pieces to be too chunky. So this is a budget-friendly meal, you guys. So you don't have to have all of these ingredients. If you don't have fresh pepper, use fresh onion, use onion powder. If you don't have any green peppers, don't worry about it. You know, don't stress yourself over what you don't have. Just work with what you do have, okay? Because this ain't got to be fancy or, you know, nothing like that, because it's going to get eaten. So, you know what I'm saying? We're not trying to get the Michelin award over here, if you feel where I'm coming from, okay? Those that know about the Michelin award in the food industry, comment down below, let me know, okay, if you've ever heard of that before. Alright, so we've got all our veggies cut up here. So I'm just going to I'm going to set this over here because I'm going to use this as a little trash bag. Alright, don't need that anymore. I'm going to put that in the sink. And let me bring you guys a little bit closer to where the action is happening. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see that really good or not, but the only thing I'm going to do is add some seasoning to this as it's cooking. Y'all know ground turkey, you got to season it up. It ain't like ground beef. Ground beef holds on to the seasoning, but ground turkey, you got to come a little bit more with the seasoning. So this is pink Himalayan salt. Got this from the Dollar Tree. Well, that might be a little too much salt, so we just gonna do this much right here. Okay, I'm not measuring it, just eyeball it, y'all. Season it to your taste, okay? Put that in the sink because we don't need that anymore. And this is best by October, what is it? October 25th of this year. So we're going to go ahead and crack this open so we can at least get some uses out of it before, you know, it goes stale on us, right? So this is the salt-free zesty blend garlic herb. And I'm just going to put a hefty amount of that in there. Then I'm going to take some ground paprika, put a good amount of that in there.
Mama, what are you making?
Okay, that's Olivia behind me, you guys. And then I'm going to take some Italian seasoning. Oops. Uh-oh, my shoulder hit, y'all. Put a hefty amount of that in there. Gonna take some black pepper, put a little bit of that in there. Don't get hefty with that unless you like it. No, keep the oven on because I need the oven. Turn the oven
There's
back on, babe.
something in there.
Oh, let me move out your way. All right, y'all. Hold on, Olivia's got to get her chicken out of the oven. So while she's doing that, I'm gonna continue on seasoning over here. Well, hold on, let me just, because I don't want to be in her way. You got it?
Yes.
That smells good. Alright, so let's go back to where the action is. So what did we put in here already? Oh, okay. So we need to put in our onion powder. So we're going to put a hefty amount of that in there. And then just because we're fancy, we're going to put in a little bit of the chicken bouillon. Not a whole lot, because I believe this has... Does this have salt in it? Yes. So salt is the first ingredient, which means it has a lot of it in it. So we're just going to do a little bit like that. I don't know if you guys can see or not. Let's scoot you up a little bit more. Note to self, get a new tripod. All right, y'all. So I'm just going to stir that up like that. Now I have this on 5, which I guess is like medium. Yeah, medium. So I'm just gonna let this cook up like this. Alright. And I almost forgot to put our minced garlic in here. So let me do that now. Okay, so I'm gonna put this minced garlic in here, you guys. I'm gonna you know, move that around the stove a little bit. I'm gonna let that cook up a little bit longer so that I can brown. My pasta, my water is boiling over here, so I'm gonna throw my elbow noodles in there. I use salt and butter for the noodles. So, and once those are al dente, then I'll go ahead and take them out of the water. I'm not going to rinse those off because I actually need the sauce to stick to the pasta in the oven. So when it's time to put all of this together, when it's time for me to throw the vegetables in there, then I'll be back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and drain this meat a little bit. There's only a little bit of grease in there, or oil rather, but we're going to go ahead and drain that. Then I'm going to, put the sauce on. Then I'm going to throw in my vegetables and let those get some of the flavor out in the pan. Now I did have the lid on to help me cook the ground turkey a little bit quicker, but I'm going to leave it off with my vegetables so that, you know, okay, so what I'm going to do is, sometimes I feel like a lot of the seasonings get drained when the meat is drained. So I still have my seasonings out. So I'm just going to take a few of them and re-season. but not a whole lot though, because you don't want it to be, you know, too much. So I'm just adding a little bit of the zesty garlic blend, the ground paprika, a little bit of the Italian seasoning, some more pepper, onion powder, and I've already put up my minced garlic, so I'm just going to reach for my garlic powder and use that instead. Now I'm not going to use the chicken bouillon because again it has a lot of salt in it, and I am not going, well, I am going to put just a little bit of the Himalayan salt, just a little bit, you guys, not a whole lot, so I think that'll be good. And then if anybody wants to add additional salt after it's cooked, then that's fine, that's on them. But I feel like with the pepperoni, that's gonna, you know, balance it out. So let me just kind of clean up as I go, y'all. I prefer to clean up as I go. I know that there's some people out there that rather clean up afterwards, but I just rather clean up as I go because then there's less to clean when I'm done cooking. You know, and depending on how the day went, sometimes, you know, you just be too tired to have, you know, do a whole bunch of dishes all at one time. So, all right, so I've got my, let me move y'all a bit closer over here now that I don't need the sink at the moment. Okay, and then I've got my pasta boiling over here to the right of you guys. So I'm gonna let that go, and I might actually need more pasta. That might not be enough, but we'll see. Okay, then get this open. And once the vegetables cook down a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the pepperoni in there. I might need to get a new can opener. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's stir this up some more, y'all. You want to make sure that everything is mixed in really good so that your vegetables suck in some of that flavor as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my noodles. Because they're boiling, so as it's cooling down, the noodles will continue to cook. I don't want those to be well done because then it'll be kind of soggy after I take them out the oven. So I don't want that. Alright, so I'm just going to let this cook a little bit more, you guys. I'm not going to put the lid on it because I don't want a whole lot of water to build up in here from the vegetables. So I'm going to let it cook with the lid off. And once the vegetables cook up a little bit more, I'm going to come back and add the pepperoni. But by the time when you guys come back, we'll actually be putting it all together and into the oven. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, you guys, so we're back for our next step, which is adding in our pepperoni and our sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our pepperoni. We're just going to give this a stir. Try to unclump some of the pepperonis. see, should we call this a beefaroni? It's a spin on beefaroni, but it's not exactly beefaroni. So what should we call this? I'll think of something by the time I go back and edit this. Okay, so now we're gonna add our sauce. So I've got 1 can of sauce. And I'm just gonna kind of stir this up to see if I might need more sauce before I put this other one in here. Alright, so we're definitely gonna need more sauce. So I've got a bag of, let me zoom y'all out so you can see. Got a bag of a little bit of frozen sauce here that I had sitting in some water. So it's thawed out a little bit, but not completely. So because of that, I do want the sauce to suck in all of the flavors. So on this part, what you're gonna have to do is let it simmer for a minute, okay? So I normally let it simmer for about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to just turn the heat down a little bit. Okay. I'm going to push that little chunk at the bottom so that it can melt a little faster. Alright, so now I'm just going to let this make love in the pot here for a little while. I'm gonna let it do it for about 10 to 15 minutes or so because I did just put that little frozen piece of spaghetti sauce in here, and I want all of the flavors to incorporate in the sauce because I'm not gonna add any additional seasoning. From that point, after it cooks, I'm gonna marry the noodles into the sauce, stir it all up, or I might just dump the noodles into our little pan right here. You want to butter your pan so your noodles don't stick though. And then I'm going to pour the sauce over it, and that's going to be the next step. So we'll be back in a little bit. Alright y'all, so it's time to go ahead and put everything together. I'm just washing my hands. Alright, so I can go ahead and turn this off. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I've already drained my noodles. They're over here to my left. I'm just going to take some of this butter. This is non-salted, so unsalted butter. And you're just going to kind of do this like you would do a lasagna or a baked macaroni and cheese. Alright, so I'm just going to pour my pasta in here. Okay. I'm trying not to get that extra water that's left at the bottom there. Alright. So let me move you guys over here just a little bit because I need a more sturdy foundation here. When I pour this sauce, I don't want the whole pan to go flying to the floor. So we've got our pasta noodles and we've got our sauce. So here's our sauce. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, looks pretty good. Give that one a good stir again. Alright, so now you're just going to take your sauce and pour it over your noodles. And then we're just going to mix all of this in like so. Alright. make sure your sauce is touching all of the noodles. Okay. Now, as you can see, this was really easy to make, you guys. Did not take a whole lot of ingredients. Perfect for beginner cookers, you know, people that are just learning how to cook. It's a perfect recipe to try for your family. Okay. And depending on how big your family is, this will make dinner for 2 nights. Okay. So for our family, this will go into tomorrow as well. Got a little bit of water at the bottom from the noodles, but it'll cook up in the oven here. Okay, so once you've gotten all of your noodles incorporated into your sauce, now you don't have to do this part. It's up to you. You can just leave it like this and go for it. But I am going to put cheese on top of this, and the cheese of choice is going to be what I have in the fridge. So I have a little bit of mozzarella left over. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of that to sprinkle on top. Okay. Now Olivia doesn't like a whole lot of cheese or whatnot, but she can actually just not eat the part that has cheese on it, which is just the top part, so she can eat whatever's underneath it. Alright. I'm just going to put a little cheese like that. Okay, so that's all the mozzarella that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to go in with some sharp cheddar cheese. Spread that out. So just for aesthetics, I'm going to put a little bit of parsley on top, just so that it looks pretty. If I can find it. If not, then I'll just use, here it is. A little bit in my hand because the mouth on this is too big. Alright, so we're just going to put a little bit of parsley on there. And then I'm going to cover this with foil. So what I like to do when I'm baking something that has cheese in it, okay, I like to take the foil and the side that's going to be touching the cheese, I like to spray a little bit of non-stick cooking spray, okay? Because when I take the foil off, I don't want to peel the foil off and then the whole layer of cheese peels off with it. Alright. I've got my oven on 350, and I am only cooking this long enough for any extra water at the bottom to evaporate and so that the cheese melts. It's technically already cooked. Oh, and to finish cooking the noodles, of course, because the noodles were more like al dente, so they weren't cooked all the way. So I'm just going to stick this in. Actually, let me turn y'all around so y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take a pan, a cookie sheet, and sit it on top of there. Okay. Go. And boom, that is it. Easy meal. So when it's done, you guys, I will show it to you. Thank you so much, you guys, for cooking with me today. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you're not part of the family, go ahead and join the family by pressing that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any uploads that I post to this channel. And I will see you guys on another video. Bye.
Oh, hello, Papa.
Oh, hey. Oh. I like to rap, but I sing a lot. I let the 808s bang and my drums knock. Try to tell me that I can't, then I know I can. Reach into my bag, hit him with the slow jam. I'm on the mic for the homies, I'ma keep it low-key. Back since 96, it was an OG. Made it with the money, people acting like they know me. People acting like they know me.
Back since 96, it was an OG. Back since